Indian Army is worried now that men can legally have sex with other men. Homosexuality in the military is frowned upon in much of the world. Is the tide about to change in India? The Supreme Court judgment decriminalizing homosexuality is said to have got the military brass worried over what it exactly means for Indian soldiers. Also, there is confusion, or a lack of consensus, among military law experts whether the judgment applies to Indian defense personnel, and if it does, how it could impact the forces. Laws governing the three arms of the Indian military bar homosexuality, although through euphemisms and not explicitly, and rule it a punishable offence. The law just last weekend, Army Chief General Bipin Rawat had summoned all colonels and their spouses to Manekshaw Centre in Delhi and said moral turpitude was unpardonable. The Supreme Court order brings the very definition of moral turpitude into question. Section 45 The Army Act, 1950, talks about the unbecoming conduct of officers without detailing it. Section 46(a) says any person guilty of any disgraceful conduct of a cruel, indecent, or unnatural kind will, on conviction by court-martial, face up to 7 years in jail. Sections 45 and 46(a) of the Air Force Act, 1950, state the same. The Navy Act, 1957, says personnel guilty of any indecent act can be jailed for up to 2 years. Also read, homosexuality not mental illness, what the 5 judges said while striking down Section 377. One provision spells out a jail term of up to 2 years for officers guilty of any scandalous or fraudulent conduct or of any conduct unbecoming the character of an officer. Army sources said they will have to read the judgment before seeing how it impacts the 3 laws, but some lawyers expressed hope that the Supreme Court order will decriminalize homosexuality for the Indian military too. Chandigarh-based lawyer Major Navdeep Singh, who specializes in service and military matters, said the landmark judgment will humanize military law to an extent. The soldiers under military law will not be tried under Section 69 of the Army Act, read with Section 377 of the IPC. As far as a consensual relationship is concerned, he told The Print. Section 69 of the Army Act pertains to civil offences. The term unnatural, as used in Section 46 of the Act, would yield to the interpretation given by the Supreme Court today for the same term appearing in Section 377, he added. The order stripped homosexual relationships of their unnatural tag. However, all forms of disgraceful conduct, which is cruel or indecent in nature, will continue to be an offence under Section 46, he said. Why the worry? An Army officer pointed out that extramarital relationships were considered an offence within the forces, saying it needed to be seen how the Supreme Court judgment tied in with this provision. The main concerns among the brass, if this happens, pertain to the possible impact on operational issues. Also read Section 377 Verdict, can we start calling the CJI the CEO of India? Soldiers are posted away from families to far-flung places for months on end. They have their buddy for emotional companionship, but absolutely no avenue for sexual release during these postings. An army lawyer said the brass had nothing to worry about, since the judgment was unlikely to decriminalize gay sex in the military. Gay sex in the defense forces will continue to remain an offence under Section 46(b) of the Army Act. The section pertains to any person who malingers, or feigns, or produces disease or infirmity in himself, or intentionally delays his cure or aggravates his disease or infirmity. The accused may also be tried under Section 63, violation of good order and discipline, but not under Section 69 of the Act, the lawyer added. The lawyer also cited Article 33 of the Constitution, which gives Parliament the power to decide which rights apply to the military. Parliament will have to pass a specific amendment or ordinance for the decriminalization of homosexuality to apply to the military, the lawyer added. Homosexuality in the military is still frowned upon in much of the world. The US and Britain have led the way in changing the status quo by welcoming gay personnel in their forces. A study conducted by the think tank Hague Centre for Strategic Studies on more than 100 armed forces found India's to be among the least friendly to gays.